Om. 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 Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the primary student is Raja Parikshita. And one of his final questions to the primary teacher was Rishi Shuka. What are safeguards against Kali? Kali means fastness. Kali means selfishness. What is unique about this particular question? Srimad Bhagavatam essentially begins with Raja Parikshita having 1 week to live. And then thousands of verses flow, and now he only has 1 day to live. And still he asks this question. And those who are reflecting on it, he's not asking this question for himself. He's already feeling the light. He only has 1 day to live. It doesn't matter to him. He's asking this question because he knows another person may not have the passion for self-development like he did, may not have the context of self-development like he did. He is asking this question for our swasti, or welfare. What this shows in a most practical way, the more long-term an action, the more loving is that vision. If what you're doing is going to help not for 1 year, but rather 10 years, 100 years, this shows that this is coming from a place of a loving vision. Raja Parikshita had this loving vision. Meaningful Mornings, I feel, also has this loving vision. I was sharing with our Devis in Chicago, this is morning 1070. For 1070 mornings, we have been together. What a long-term and so loving relationship. In Bhagavad Gita's chapter 16, you know we're on chapter 16, yes? In verse 12, Shri Krishna is describing one who is small, small-headed, small-hearted, small-handed. When one's equipments are small, this breeds small experiences then. In Hindi, what is the word for someone who is a miser? Kanjus. You know how much I like hearing that word. The philosophical definition of a kanjus is they don't enjoy and they don't let anyone else enjoy either. See how they're small and they make everyone else feel like they should be small too. Here in Chicago, we're studying the Ramayana. For me, the original bully is Ravana. Ravana was someone who was small, not physically, but within he was small, and he tried to make himself big by making everyone else smaller. if I'm a short person and I stand up here, then I feel like I'm taller than all of you. That's how Ravana was. In verse 13, Shri Krishna offers more of a deduction. If someone has a small vision, this is going to come out as a small lifestyle. And so one will never experience bigness. In Sanskrit, this is called Brahman. In terms of our feelings, it is called completeness. It is a delusion to think, if I'm small inside and small outside, that I'm going to feel big. And that's why one of the last thoughts I shared with you in reference to verse 13 is for us to follow dharma, which has 4 facets. The first facet, satya, that is for our intellect to follow integrity. That percolates to daya, from being large-headed to large-hearted. In English, compassionate. That then percolates to tapa. That's me being large-handed in this framework. Tapa means openness, but another definition of tapa is focus. Someone who's large-handed means they are focused with their body, which means they're much more efficient. They drop things less. They break things less. They're intentional with their actions. When you feel the bigness or the fullness of your head and heart and hands, then naturally, you can't hold this inside. This comes out as, what was the 4th facet of dharma? Dana. Dana means generosity. When I pick up our children from school, one of them is joining Meaningful Mornings right now, though he should be sleeping, but he's awake right now. When they engage in something awesome at school, even though I have particular questions for them, did you eat your lunch? How are you feeling? But they can't help but tell me about this awesome thing that happened at school. Like, this boy got hit with this ball, for them, they can't help but tell me those things. So for someone who's following dharma, they also can't help themselves but to be generous with resources, time, and effort. We are continuing, starting with a review of verse 14, and then we will flow through verse 15. Asau maya hata shatruhu hanishye chaparanapi ishwaroham aham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi. Joy. This verse is so accurate. All of these verses is like Shri Krishna is looking into our minds, synonymously looking into the mind of a teenage boy. So insecure that they start to think and say these kinds of notions. Asau maya hataha shatruhu. That enemy has been killed by me. Hanishye aparan, and another enemy will be killed by me. I'm just translating for you. Now it becomes more personal. Aham Ishwara. I am the controller of all. And you don't need an interpretation. We do this through micromanaging, correct? If you micromanage, Aham Ishwara. Aham Bhogi. I'm not just the doer, but I'm also the deserver. Aham Siddha. I'm enlightened. Nobody else is, but I'm enlightened. And specifically, Balavan. Look at how strong I am. Sukhi. Look at how happy I am. Do happy people have to go around telling other people that they're happy? I'm reading an insight from Puja Swami Chinmayananda. The translation of this stanza is itself a commentary, and it is a commentary on the lives of many of us too. All business people in the world, unknown to themselves, constantly chant this stanza in their heart of hearts. I destroyed one competitor in the market, and now I must destroy the remaining two competitors also. Sort of sounds like America, no? Sounds like capitalism. In fact, what can those poor people do to me or stop me from doing what I want? Because there is none equal to me in any respect. I am the Lord. It's laughable, but sometimes we, the people we interact with, think like this. Making this more philosophical, we had started our orientation of Bhagavad Gita with the genesis of our disease being doership. If we didn't feel doership, our life would be dramatically different. And so Shri Krishna is now sarcastically sharing. We're in chapter 16. Those who are asuras, filled with darkness, they feel that they are the doer. I had mentioned to all of you that Puja Swami Tejromayananda taught us to stop dying for that which is dying. Do you remember me sharing that with you? Now, all of these positions like, I am the one who enjoys, I am the one who's enlightened, etc. These are all positions that are changing, correct? One day I'm enlightened, the next day I give in to anger. One moment I'm enjoying, the other day I'm sick. For someone who's not thinking in the long term, if they're satisfied with these short-term emotions, these emotions are dying. These are not substantial. One more insight in terms of dying, what Puja Swami Tejromayananda had shared. Those who follow Srimad Bhagavatam are no longer afraid to die. This map teaches one the art of dying. Raja Parikshita is going to die in 2 weeks. We're forcing him to stay alive for 2 more weeks. In 2 more weeks, then he'll die. Because we have to study how all of this happens. And those who follow Bhagavad Gita are not afraid to live. Those who follow the Bhagavad Gita, teaching about Dharma, they're not afraid to live. They wake up without stress, anxiety, dejection. Verse 15. Adyo bijanavan asmi, koyosti sadrisho maya, yakshe dasyami modishye, ityajnana vimohitaha. Joy. It is like Shri Krishna's, the director of the movie Inside Out. In the movie Inside Out, we keep getting to know the emotions of Reed is her name, I think? Riley is her name. And Shri Krishna just keeps zooming into a certain facet of our mind. That way we feel how relevant this is. Adyaha, that is, I am rich. Abhijanavan, I am well born. Do you know what my last name is? Do you know who my family is? Shri Krishna continues, Kaha anya asti sadrasho maya, who is there that is comparable to me? Someone who thinks like this, there's no one who's more incomparable in terms of arrogance to you. Yakshe, look at me, I am going to sacrifice. Dasyami, look at me, I am going to give. And because of this, modishya, I'm going to feel happy. iti, all that Sri Krishna has just taught, ajnana, these are signs. This is the nature of forgetfulness. Forgetting existence, truth, nobility, such a person is not suffering from moha, but vimoha. Not foolishness, but comprehensive foolishness. I'll read an insight from Pujya Swami Chinmayananda, share a little bit more. I am the most successful human. I'm strong in influence, in my capital, in my connections, in my bank balance, and personally, I am healthy. This, in short, is the ego's song of success that is ever humming in the heart of a true materialist. Under the spell of this satanic lullaby, the higher instincts and the divine urges in humans fall into a sleep of intoxication. His writings are hard, very moving. The word dasyami means that I am giving. I am dedicating. And if one has this notion, are they really giving? Are they really dedicating? Remember yesterday I'd asked, how do you know if you're dedicated? If you're dedicated, you don't know that you're sacrificing. It is that natural, which is why in the organizations I work with, I discourage anyone's name being associated with a specific giving. If you give 10,000, if you sponsor a room, I discourage the notion of your name being associated with that. Because if you're dedicating, then you don't know that you're sacrificing, and nobody else should know either, correct? In our community, tell me, who donates the most? You're all thinking, Dasyami, of course you do, yes? I technically do know who donates the most, but they're not treated differently. In fact, they're treated worse because I know I go to them more than. All of this has come from verse 4. I'd mentioned to you that in verse 4, Asuri Sampatti begins. In verse 4, the sixth vice is Ajnana. When you forget the truth, this is how we start to think. We really become Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu tormented his own child, sharing, there is no Narayana, there is only me. So if one thinks that the world revolves around them, Hiranyakashipu was never killed by Bhagavad Narasimha. He's reincarnated as you and me. We have more to think about what selfishness is. From inspiration to application. Your application from Thursday was to prepare for the completion of this chapter. 1 week from today, we will complete chapter 16, and our community is going to complete raising $25,001 for the African Wildlife Foundation. We are going to be grateful for chapter 16 and express this as generosity. There's a seeker who's with us right now. At the end of my emails and sometimes my clothing, it says, inspire, love, be. Have you all seen that? He's modified it. He thinks he made it better, and I sort of agree with him. His is contribute, love, be. And I like that because maybe he can't inspire, suppose, because he doesn't have a position like I do, but he can contribute. Yesterday when I was flying to Chicago, a sankalpa came in my mind. Our crew is analyzing how many people we reach every week. And we've sort of come to the conclusion that we reach around 1,000 individuals a week. I feel it's reasonable for anyone who's working that in a year, you should contribute $1,000. Our community should be able to generate $1 million a year for charity. To me, that's reasonable. This is the Sankalpa. This is what Bhagwan was teaching me yesterday. Your application from Friday was to subscribe to Chinmay Nagara's YouTube channel by watching our annual Seva training. How many of you have started? Okay, good. And here's your application for this morning. From verses 4 to 15, which has hurt you the most? We are a punching bag. Shri Krishna is the boxer. Which blow has leveled you the most? Shanti, 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 he joy.